welcome to Family Farm Day 2020.
We were disappointed that we couldn't have you here on our farm this year, so what we've done is put together some virtual tours for you to see what we do and how we do it. Hi, I'm in the chick barn, and these are the barns that the birds are in for the first few weeks, and then they will go out onto the field. We have perches in the barn. There's perches for them if they want to roost, and we have windows to let the natural light in, and on a warm summer day, and winter days, we will open those windows and let the fresh air in. So when these chicks are fully feathered, we will take them from the barn and we'll move them outside into their shelters and ranges. Because they are fully feathered at that time, they're able to withstand any changes in temperature and stay comfortable and warm. As you can see, they have lots of room to run around and express their natural behaviors. They also like to scratch in the straw.
We're inside of one of our broiler shelters, or our meat chicken shelters. This is a specially designed shelter for the broilers. It's 15 feet wide by 48 feet long, with a shelter on the front and a range out the back. This shelter is moved every day so that the birds get fresh green grass. So they're never on their own area for more than 24 hours. Super clean. Just the birds just love the fresh grass. They also love being out of doors in the free range. We bring these chicks out when they're about 3.5 weeks old, just old enough to have enough feathers on them so that the cold nights won't affect them and won't hurt them. Bring them out, move them out from our barns, and then we move them to the shelters, and they're there for another number of weeks until they get big enough. We feel that the birds love this environment because we see them are so content. There's lots of grass here for them to eat. They're protected from predators with the roof on, aerial predators, also ground-based predators with the roof on and the netting around the range area. The feed that we feed our birds, the chickens, is milled in our own feed mill. It's certified organic, no herbicides, no pesticides on the feed, no fertilizers, no artificial fertilizers. Grains raised by local farmers in our community. Just a complete feed for the birds. I'm going to reach down and grab some of the feed here just to show you. This is some of the feed that we have that are milled in our feed mill up in the yard. Just an absolutely totally nutritious feed for the bird. We use a nutritionalist to help us design a feed that totally meets all of the nutritional requirements of the bird. So the water that we get for our birds comes from a dugout that we have on our land. It's fresh, clean water, 24/7. They never run out of water. The birds just do so well with this fresh, clean water that comes only from our land. It doesn't come from anybody else's land. What we use is the bell waters, and we find that the bell waters work really well in our range system. One of the reasons why the bell waters work so well in our range system is that we use pipelines throughout our pasture that bring the water to the birds. Now these pipelines are surface pipelines, and so the water can get quite warm from the sun, but as the water comes down over the bell, then this thin layer of water, it evaporates, a little bit of evaporation goes on, so that the water down in the ring of the bell water is just nice and cool to the touch, and also cool to the birds. So it's not a super hot water for the birds. You notice that the birds are out in the sun here, just loving the sunlight. We move these shelters ahead every day, and so that the birds are always on their clean grass, always fresh, clean grass. And also moving them from south to north, we get that sun in on top, into the birds, into the shelter. And you notice how the birds are just loving the sun. They're relaxing in the sun, preening themselves in the sun. But also, look at the shelter. You see that this is what we call the range area, and it has a netting around it, a stucco wire netting around it, to keep the aerial predators out, to keep the four-legged predators out. So the birds here in the shelter that you're seeing are 38 days old. Now they will continue to keep growing and also put more feathers on. They're not fully feathered out yet, but they will continue to grow and put feathers on. As you see, these are older birds here, fully feathered out, beautiful looking birds. The cockerel there, the comb, nice red comb, nice red wattle. Just beautiful, beautiful looking birds. You notice that there's a little orange netting on the ground. Well, what we use the orange netting for is so that if there is a gopher hole in the ground, then the birds don't squirt out underneath the shelter and out into the field. We are trying to keep them confined so to protect them from the predators, and also to make sure that they have food and water at all times. As you can see, the grass here that we have, the one on to the left side here is all covered with the thin coating of manure. The birds leave such a beautiful coating on the grass, on the land, so full of nutrients, incredibly full of nutrients. The grass just explodes after this. And because we are grass farmers, we raise grass, all our production here is based on grass. We are trying to make grass grow. And one of the ways we can make grass grow is by putting this skim of fresh chicken manure on the land. The rain will come, it'll bring those nutrients down to the roots of the grass, and then the grass will just explode. You can sort of see how much they leave, because on one side we have a little green, it's quite a bit greener. This is where the chickens weren't. And then on the other side, we have where the little skim of manure has been left on the land. So just a totally symbiotic relationship with the land, the grass, the chickens, the cows that come in and feed on this afterwards. Just a total working with nature, not against nature. That is what our farm believes in. So you can see on the ground here is our water line. This is how we transport water to all of our chicken shelters. We basically bring it out of the dugout, pump it out of the dugout, runs along the ground, and then this pipeline gets moved every day ahead to the end of the shelter so that the birds always have fresh water.